Start with prayer. We gather together here tonight, intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Tom Bergamini.
Here.
Matt Zeck.
Here.
Christy Arlingham here. Mike Daugherty.
Here.
Bob Mueller.
Here.
Carter Dickerson.
Okay, approval of minutes, November 13, 2017, council meeting minutes.
I didn't see them. Were they circulated?
I thought they were.
I didn't get a
I
copy.
don't remember if I read them. I don't remember if I read them or not.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure.
But we go make copies of them real quick and provide everything and then come back to this.
We can defer to the next one.
Yeah, just defer it till the next month.
Okay.
Okay. Mike, Fire Authority report.
There's not been a meeting since the last meeting, so I have nothing new.
Okay, thank you. Finance, Matt?
Since I'll take Mike's time, since I have a lot to report. So I will get out to everyone the financial one-pager report that I do. I didn't have a chance to put it together, but I can read to you verbally kind of a financial update through 5 months. So this is through the month ending November of 2017. Our revenues year-to-date this year about 1.6 million. That compares favorably to revenue last year, about 1.5 million. So we're up a little bit higher on the revenue side. One thing that's really helping us, I mentioned it before, is our insurance premium tax, the IPT. It's about 338,000 this year versus 188,000 last year. So there were a couple really big policies that were written that's really boosting our revenue on the IPT side. Payroll gross receipts is down about $40,000. But overall, the revenue, like I said, is up about $100,000. Admin expenses were down, which is good. Having expenses down year over year, so we're about 239 this year. We were about 330 last year. Last year did have a number of different kind of one-time weird items. It was the last of that $50,000 payment to Erlanger for the taxpayer who sent their money to the wrong place. We had about $42,000 that went to street projects, and we paid for the annual audit last year. By this time, we have not done it yet this year. So just some anomalies on showing our admin expenses down. Public works expenses are also down. Last year we had about $45,000 in park outlay. We only had about $23,000 this year, so we spent a little bit more in the park last year. Also last year, the capital improvement project for the streets about $39,000. So again, showing year over year, we're showing down. Our safety services is up $620,000 versus $599 last year. Again, that's all attributed to the police contract that has an escalation dollar amount in it. Our debt's down about $20,000 in payments. So overall, the expenses are down. We're a total about 1.1 versus last year we were 1.3. All of that yielding to a net income of about $531,000 this year. Versus the 282 for last year. So we're up about use round numbers, $250,000 year over year. So there are a lot of one-time things in there, some to the good and some to the bad, but so far through 5 months, we're in good financial shape. Changing gears, we had a good meeting with BB&T, who is the financial institution that the City of Crescent Springs banks with. We had a meeting with a relationship manager from BB&T. His name is Wes. He brought in our treasury services individual. Her name is Crystal. Really talking about kind of our account structure. They had some suggestions on ideas of how to improve it. One of the actions that they discussed, which we agreed with, I shouldn't say it was their idea. They brought up the number of accounts. One of our ideas was that we have a capital improvement account that, frankly, we as a city have not put any money into for quite some time. It had a whopping balance of $3,480. So we made the decision in an effort to be efficient as well as save some costs and close that capital account and just bring it all back to the general fund. We could always, if we did have an initiative in the future where we wanted to open it up, we can always reopen it back up. But we moved that $3,480 just back into the general fund. We're also working to update some of the bank resolutions since we'll have the change with Susan to April. So the bank resolution just kind of says, hey, who's authorized to make changes at the bank? So we'll remove Susan and put April in as soon as she's officially sworn in as city clerk and treasurer. Same thing with the signers and the checks. We'll remove Susan and we'll add April. And that will all retain myself, Christy, and the mayor as signers as well. One other suggestion that they had, actually a couple other suggestions they had on the investment side, and I'm aware of this from my banking background. So because we are a municipality, our balances are required to be collateralized, which means for every $100 that we have in the bank has to go get $100 worth of collateral. That has become very, very expensive for banks. So their suggestion were some ways that we could find some other investment vehicles that would benefit us as a city because we would get better interest rates, and therefore they would be able to pay more because it benefits them by not having to go out and buy that collateral. So they shared with us some certificate deposit rates. They also shared a product called an insured cash sweep. Again, both of those are secured, and they would fit within our investment policy as well. And again, I think that policy was circulated for folks to read. It's a little bit outdated, but it really hasn't changed that much because the banking industry hasn't changed that dramatic, and our investment policy is really focused on safety, liquidity, and return on investment. So we're not going to do any of the crazy financial derivatives and investment schemes that are out there. It stays pretty consistent. So one other item they talked about was some fraud protection services. It is also something I'm very much aware of. And again, that's just some protection that can go around our accounts to help make sure that they're not falling victim to the fraud that's out there, whether it's check fraud or ACH fraud. So I'm going to take all that information and meet with the finance committee. They have not seen this data yet, so we'll sit and review that with them and come back to council with some recommendations. And if we want to do some of those certificate deposits, or any kind of other investment vehicle, we'll make sure that we share that with all of you before we do it. Told you I'd use your time. Any questions on that?
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Okay. Next item is taxes paid by credit card. Bob?
Short and sweet, this is just a recap that April helped pull together. Excuse me. Just to show, to the extent we can compare year on year what the website activity is around electronic payment. Across the different types of billing and payment that we use that service for: property tax, the banners, shelter rentals, city citations, and liquor licenses. I'd say the favorable news is we've seen in raw percentages about a 68% increase in the use of e-payment for property taxes, but it still only represents about 2% of the transactions. So only 2% of the people are paying their property tax via the website or electronic payment. But year over year, it's about 68% increase. Banners is seasonal, so we don't have the comparison. Shelter rentals has stayed about stable. City citations, again, in raw percentages, this sounds dramatic. There's been like a 250% increase, but it just, there's a period where people just used it more to pay the city citations. Liquor licenses, there was not a comparison for electronic payment. But overall, we've stayed constant year to year. Last year, about almost 11% of the payments in total, or on average actually, were made electronically. This year it's about 9.3 so far. I think one of the things that April and I had talked about once before was, I think on the actual bill, there's some sort of a statement that says you can pay these things electronically. But if I think of things that I've gotten in the mail that they want to call attention to, there's a bright orange or bright pink or bright whatever stuck in that envelope or attached to whatever it is. And I'd really like to get more usage out of this, even though it's not costing us a ton of money. I'd sure like to see more usage than we're seeing. Thank you, April, for putting that together. That's it.
Thank you, Bob. Public Works, Dewey.
I don't have too much. We got the park closed, turned all the water off, put all the grills, tables, and cans and stuff up. We had the furnaces serviced at the park, down here at the city building, up at the Public Works Garage. And we've been out cleaning a lot of leaves up off the streets and out of catch basins, keep them from getting clogged up. That's about it.
Okay, thank you, Dewey. City Administrator, Rip.
The only thing that I have is this last Thursday night, the planning commission met. We had a map amendment and text amendment before them in reference to the small area study, the old area. We changed the limited highway services zone, the neighborhood commercial zone, the professional office zone. Those zoning that is currently in place up there, we changed that and combined it all to a mixed commercial use zone. Instead of having all these different zones, we combined them all into one. Similar to what we have in the Buttermilk Crossing area, the Buttermilk Town Center area. Everything's a mixed land use zone. We combined all this, made a mixed commercial use zone. It kind of streamlines things, makes it a little easier, and it also adds about 40, I'm going to guesstimate 44 additional uses to the zones that were up there. Limited highway services zones only had 8. There was no retail. Now there's a lot of retail up there. We also did a text amendment to the IP zone. We added some additional uses to the IP zone. For instance, like contractor's yard, we cleaned that up. In both zones up there, we had some non-conforming uses in there. We put them in there because the people were leaving our area, going to go out of our city to accommodate them. They asked about going in there. The fact that we were going to do some zone change, we went ahead and let them go in. And now we just cleaned all that up. Also, there's a proposal about to be made for the old Schmidt Poultry property. There were some questions on portable storage units, so we addressed those in that IP zone. Went before the Planning Commission. Alex Kupelman made the presentation. He did an excellent job. It passed unanimously through the Planning Commission for the new zoning. It will come before our city council, I believe, on January the 7th. Andy Yevvakovich from Planning PDS, Planning Development Services, will be here to make that presentation with the assistance of Mike Baker and Bob Mueller. That's all I have.
Thank you, Rip. Next item is old business. Joe?
We have a second reading of ordinance 2017-13. This is to clean up some inconsistency with the alcoholic beverage licenses. An ordinance of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, amending Code of Ordinances, Section 114.40 regarding hours when alcoholic beverages may be sold. Whereas the City Code of Ordinances, Section 114.40, which describes the hours in which alcoholic beverages may be sold at retail or served in the city, and the Kentucky Legislature having amended its statute to allow for the sale of alcohol during the hours when polls are open in the city. And whereas the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky enacted Ordinance 2015-9 to amend Ordinance Code Section 114.40 parentheses A, close parentheses, and whereas it appears that in addition, Section 114.40D must also be amended to comply with the change in state law. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, Section 1. Section 114.40 parentheses D, close parentheses, is hereby amended to read in full as follows. D, all retail sellers that hold a valid license for the sale of distilled spirits, wine, or malt beverages within the jurisdictional boundaries of the city are hereby authorized to sell distilled spirits, wine, and malt beverages, whether by drink or by package, according to the terms of their individual license during the hours of 6 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. the following day, on every day except Sundays. And then stricken out is language that says, and except for any hours when any polls are open in the city on any election day. Then back to the language that is kept. All retail sellers who hold a valid license for the sale of wine, spirits, or malt beverages within the jurisdictional boundaries of the city are hereby authorized to sell distilled spirits, wine, and malt beverages by the drink according to the terms of their individual license between the hours of 12 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. and on Sundays between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. on Mondays. All retail sellers that hold a valid license for the sale of wine, spirits, or malt beverages within the jurisdictional boundaries of the city are hereby authorized to sell distilled spirits, wine, and malt beverages by package according to the terms of their individual license between the hours of 12:30 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. and on Sundays between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. on Mondays. Section 2, the remaining portions of Section 114.40 of the City Code of Ordinances is hereby readopted and reaffirmed as is set forth herein as amended in Ordinance 2015-9 passed October 26, 2015. Section 3, this ordinance shall be in effect from and after its passage and publication according to law.
Okay.
Question on section B. Did you say 12:30 a.m. in section B or 12 a.m.?
12:01 a.m.
Why is section C 12:30 then?
I don't know. I mean, that's just the way the code was written.
That's odd.
I mean, this is an existing.
No, I
Section.
understand that, but it's, let me see that.
Yeah, I mean,
Gives them 29 more minutes to sell.
Well, no, it's just, they should be consistent.
Mercury does range from where they are.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2017-13.
Matt's made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Christie's second. Roll call.
Bob Mueller,
Yes.
Christie Garlinghouse.
Yes.
Mike Daugherty,
Yes.
Tom Burgemedy.
Yes,
Matt Zach.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Next item is new business. Joe?
This municipal order 2017-7, a municipal order of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, appointing April Robinson as City Clerk Treasurer of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky. Whereas a vacancy has occurred in the position of City Clerk/Treasurer of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, and pursuant to KRS 83A.080, the position of City Clerk is deemed a non-elected office within the Commonwealth. And whereas it is incumbent upon the city to fill said vacancy, now therefore, the mayor and legislative body of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky hereby appoint April Robinson as City Clerk/Treasurer of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, upon such terms as otherwise provided in the ordinances of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky. April Robinson shall have all powers, authority, and obligations inherent in the office of City Clerk/Treasurer and is otherwise established by the ordinances of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, and the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Period. This ordinance shall take effect on December 12th, 2000, and this order shall take effect on December 12th, 2017.
Okay.
Can you just confirm the municipal order number?
Yeah.
It's different than what's on the agenda.
Yeah.
you said 7.
It was changed.
No.
It's 17.
The municipal order is 2017-17. He said 2017-7.
It should be 17.
It should be 17.
Right.
Yes,
I must have just
17.
It says
misread it.
13 on here.
Yes.
My cheaters were cheating.
I'll make a motion to approve municipal order 2017-17.
Okay, Mike's made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Matt's seconded the motion.
I have one question before we do that. My recollection, Susan indicated you're retiring effective December 31st.
That's correct.
Does that mean we have 2 city clerks for 2 weeks?
It would.
She's gonna be
But
at.
your last
Her last
working
day
day
is the
is
13th.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
the 13th?
The 13th.
So for one day, you'll have an overlap.
Okay, all right.
April says you'll work for free for those 2 weeks.
I second that motion again.
Okay, roll call.
Chrissy Arlinghouse,
Yes.
Mike Dougherty,
Yes.
Tom Burgundy.
Yes.
Matt Zek,
Yes.
Bob Mueller.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Next municipal order, 2017-18.
18, yes. Appointment of non-elected city officers and members of city boards and authorities of the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky. Be it ordered by the mayor and legislative body of the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky as follows. Section 1. Appointment by the mayor of the following persons to serve as officers or members of boards and various authorities as required by statute or contractual obligation by the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, as hereinafter set forth, is hereby approved, and the mayor by a signature hereto does hereby appoint said persons to the offices as indicated. To the extent required by law, the council of the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky does hereby approve the persons to serve in offices, boards, and authorities as herein provided in this order. Council chairperson, Bob Mueller, term 1 year, ending 12/31/2018. Crescent Villa Fire Authority, Tom Bergamini, 1 year, ending 12/31/2018. Sue Cassidy, 1 year, ending December 31st, 2018. Mike Dougherty, 1 year, ending December 31st, 2018. PDS Planning Council, Tom Bergamini, delegate, 1 year, ending December 31st, 2018. Lou Hartfield, alternate, 1 year, ending December 31st, 2018. NKMGL, Mike Dougherty, delegate, 1 year, December 31st, ending December 31st, 2018. George Ripberger, alternate, for 1 year, ending December 31st, 2018. Board of Adjustment, Gary Smith, it's a 4-year appointment. His term ends December 31st, 2020. Mike Gronefeld, also a 4-year appointment. His term ends December 31st, 2018. And Sarah Ballot, who's also has a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2018. Kenton County and Municipal Planning and Zoning Commission, Greg Sketch, a 4-year appointment ending December 31st, 2020. Municipal Tree Commission, Phil Rakel, 3-year appointment ending December 31st, 2020. Stacy Ziegler, 3-year appointment ending December 31st, 2019. John Garrett, 3-year appointment ending December 31st, 2018. Shirley Hartfield, 3-year appointment ending December 31st, 2020. Carter Dickerson, 3-year appointment ending December 31st, 2020. Stormwater Representative George Ripberger, 1 year, ending December 31st, 2018. ABC Administrator George Ripberger, 1 year, ending December 31st, 2018. The appointments herein approved and/or made shall be for the year 2018 or for the term provided by statute or contract, and shall continue until the successor of each appointee is thereafter appointed and approved. Non-elected city officers shall continue unless removed as provided in KRS 83A.080. Section 3. The foregoing officials or members have such duties, obligations, rights, and privileges as provided by ordinances and the laws of the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and the United States of America, and as provided by contracts requiring city participation. Adopted this 11th day of December 2017.
Joe, on the municipal tree board, there's one person that was left off of that, and that
Okay.
was Don Fleming. He was left off of it last year too, somehow.
And that's a 3-year appointment. Do you know when it ends?
He's never been appointed. This will be his first
This
appointment.
will be his first one? Okay, so that would be December 31st, 2020.
Okay, any discussion on municipal order 2017-18, appointment of non-elected officers and boards? If not, I would like to have a motion.
We'll make a motion to approve municipal order 2017-18.
Bob's made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. Save Matt from doing it all the time.
Mike's second. Roll call.
Christie Arlinghouse,
Yes.
Mike Douglas,
Yes.
Tom Burgamini,
Yes.
Matt Zach,
Yes.
Bob Mueller,
Yes.
Order passes unanimously. Municipal order 2017-19, appointing representative boards and committees.
Designation of council committees of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky. Be it ordered by the mayor and legislative body of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky as follows. Section 1. The council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky does hereby establish the following council committees to advise the full council in the operation of its legislative duties as provided by statute. Further, the members of council and citizen representatives are appointed to the respective committees as follows. Economic Development Committee, Tom Burgamini,